morning.
Good morning.
Last night we had what we call a Kusatsu ceremony. And, not repentance, but more like atonement, because there's no sins. We didn't do anything wrong. Atonement is a good word. When you separate at one man, that's what Zen does. And ritual, formal ritual, discipline, training, that's the hard part. It's really lots of training. You have to untrain all of your conditioned society, education. You split everything apart from subject to object. When the split exists, that's why we suffer. That's why the whole world suffers. So when we got show, we're joining back what was split, back to what it was. And then when we bow, you have to bow in exhalation. When you give somebody, you give it on exhalation. You don't hold your breath. So you're on the bow, you're not each other's true nature. We're doing the true nature, and then we exhale, exhale, exhale. We getting near to the end now. You're thinking on stops. There's no thinking there. It's pretty easy. Every time you exhale, you're thinking non-stop. But you have yet to realize that's your realization. And you need a teacher to point it out. That's what's going on. It's like putting money in the bank. Every time you exhale, you don't even have to bow because you're exhaling throughout the entire day. How many times are you going home without knowing it? Wherever you are, as long as you can breathe, we're not obstructed from breathing. So, we've been here for 50 years. When we first came here, there was a concrete floor. There was no pillars. I think the zendo, the barn ended right there at that pillar. And from there to the next, to the Tokusan room, was a tractor shed. So little by little, we changed it. In fact, we have wooden floors now. But the amazing thing about it was that when we first moved here, it snowed. That was 50 years ago. They say that the Buddhists brought the snow. People in Santa Rosa really don't know there's a mountain here. But when the snow was there, everybody came up to slide down the hills and broke all the fences and things like that. And this is the second time it snowed. So it really marks a kind of a new beginning here. I thought for this talk, I would ask you to ask questions. And by you asking the question, then why do you come to a place like this? There's something within yourself that is the greatest treasure in the world. It's beyond kings and queens and emperors. The Chinese call it the victorious one. Each one of you is the victorious one, but you don't know it. And you have to realize that you are Buddha already, but you don't know it. And that's what people use the word practice, but I use the word training. it takes a lot of training to turn the conditioned mind around. So you can really know who you are and enjoy the real world, not the world that we've been taught and taught to understand those objects out there. They are not objects out there. Everything is a part of you. We all have the same mother. We won't be fighting each other. We come from the same universe. Everything comes from the universe, and we are part of it. So I'm not getting off the hook, but I'm inviting you to ask questions, and I can read a talk from that. Okay? Yeah. Don't be afraid. I was very shy. I couldn't ask any questions for 10 years.
Okay, so we have 27 people online, and you are welcome to ask questions, of course. So please, put up your hand, and you.
Oh, there was one question already from Natalie Jeffs.
Natalia.
Natalia Jeffs, and she asked about attachment, and so she said, "What about the good experiences we have, the joy or the happiness? Can we, and emotions like that, can we be attached to those? And what do you think?" Attachment works the same way with something bad, something good, and something neutral. You can't attach to it. Things are changing. So when you have something wonderful that happens to you, just please enjoy it, because you can't attach to it. If you try, you will suffer. You can't repeat it, because everything's impermanent. Things are changing. There's some rain. Yes. No, there's no rain. Yes. Things are constantly changing. Last night, before we had the Musatsu ceremony, the atonement ceremony, I got out of the car. I was look around, look up at the sky. Big, gigantic halo around the moon. I mean, how big was that halo? I mean, we're looking at the sky now. But I don't know how many miles that halo around the moon. Ceremonies are not performed, but enacted on the full moon and new moon. That's where the energy is.
Roshi,
Yes.
I'm sorry in advance for this question in a way, but it seems like nothing is off limits with the Dharma. So this is just our life. So if you can't do anything wrong, but a child dies in a classroom, how do I respond to this?
Yeah, that was kind of shocking. Santa Rosa. You know, when we hear the media or the news, when we hear it's over in Ukraine or it's near Poland, and Rota pointed out to us one day when we were in the city, those lights that we had, those Christmas tree lights we have, they don't have them all lit up. They only have one space, no light, and one, because they were flooded with refugees from Ukraine. So, coming back to your question, that's Ukraine, Poland, all those places are far away, but when it gets closer, even death, you hear someone die, oh, that's far away, but it's coming closer. And this came right to Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa was not what it used to be. not at all. And yeah, I was in Montgomery High School. Hey, that's in Santa Rosa. You know, and what happened? And kids that age, they're younger, and I remember being in high school. You're very emotional, and things happen very quick without thinking. So what was your question again?
If no one does anything wrong, how do I explain that a child died in a classroom, and how do I respond to it?
Yeah.
To my daughter, to my students, to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. I mean, you know, like the precepts. We have precepts. I think one of the best precepts is this one. Precepts is not about right and wrong. It's about realization. That's the first thing. And it's number 9. Your self-nature, your true self-nature, who you are. Your self-nature is inconceivably wondrous. In the Dharma of no self, meaning in the Dharma, in the teaching, in the truth, in the law of no self-centeredness, no self, not contriving a reality of the ego is not being angry. That is, isn't that something? Not contriving self-centeredness, the reality of who you think you are is not becoming angry. And not becoming angry can lead to all kinds of things. From both people. Kill everyone being killed. You know? Of course, of course, it's just such a horrible thing. It's your son, you know, or even your daughter, do the same thing. We have feelings. We have pure feelings, but also, you know, like there was a practice called compassion breathing, and you could teach it to anyone. You don't even have to call it Buddhist. But when you're little, especially, or even not just little, when you're big, like us, when someone says something bad to you or hurts your feelings, you feel it and it stays with you. But there's a practice called compassion breathing that you receive the pain. You don't first thing you don't try to push it away because that's what happened. You feel the pain, and then on the inhalation you receive it, and then on the exhalation you let it go, and you do that 3, 4, 5, 6 times. That's for yourself, and then you move in second gear. Second gear is that you do the same. There's a person on this planet right now that's feeling exactly what you're feeling, and you breathe that in and out. Breathing in, I receive it. Breathing, exhaling means you're letting it go, and it gets resolved. You're not just suppressing. You're not pushing it down. And there's all kinds of things you can do, you know. So of course you feel that sadness, and that sadness stays with you. Then you work it with compassion. It doesn't cost anything.
I wish that the Aja was here, because when I picked him up the other day, the day of the incident, he got into the car, and he said there was going to be a protest at the Maria Carrillo, where he's a student at. And without thinking, I asked him, what are they protesting for or against? Why protesting? And is it for more safety, security? Are they gonna put up metal detectors? And then my response was that maybe rather you should talk together because we are all, I said, we are all capable of doing that. And of course, it sounds really extreme, but meaning that, yeah, maybe exactly what you said, Roshi, that we are getting educated, we go to school for many years, but what do we actually learn? And things like what you just said, that is so important. We could learn things like that also. And so I think that's what kind of what I meant by we are all capable of it, but we don't get like good education really that can help our lives.
I mean, this is just the world we live in. How we make our choices, how we want to live. It, I guess, because the world is in such a bad shape. It's really bad. Things are upside down. People don't know what is right and what wrong. And the basic evil in Buddhism is the greed, the anger, and the ignorance. Those are the three big ones. Greed, anger, and ignorance. And they are dissolved with meditation practice. But that takes training, because you have to retrain your body and mind. I was invited to go to the U.S. Coast Guard, the Rock, Petaluma, and they had a spiritual gathering there and called spiritual fitness. I thought that was kind of interesting. They put the two worlds together, spiritual and fitness. But actually, I was the only, I guess, odd person there. They're mostly Christian, but I just realized they're good people. But most of their belief is based on the intellect. It has nothing to do with the breath nor the body. They can recite passages, but there's no presence in the person. There's nobody there. They just read from the Bible or something. But so I was a little bit disappointed, and but anyway, that's how it is. The practice here is based on your breath, your body, your mind, and your body. There's an old adage like the breath controls your thinking controls your body. And all Japanese arts and discipline is breath discipline. You can create schizophrenia by the way you breathe, depression, just by the way. And where do you breathe from? Chest, the lower belly. Yeah. So yeah, Buddha made this clear 2,588 years ago, but people don't pay attention.
That's a question.
Who
So
is
Mary, can you please unmute yourself?
Larry?
Mary, go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Oh, is that better?
Yes.
How is it, Roshi, that in meditating, the focus is on the out breath and not the in breath?
No, don't worry. You have to have both. Okay? So when I say out, it also means in. Okay, so I'll explain it. What's your name?
Mary Vocative.
Mary Verketeer.
Oh, Mary.
And you can look at the camera.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Hi.
Mary.
Hi.
So the first thing, we need air to survive. So you breathe in first, and you watch your rhythm expand. And not only do you breathe in, you there's a place in our body called the Cinnabar Field. And does anybody know anything about Cinnabar? It's a chemical, and actually, if there's too much, it can kill you. But anyway, they call it the Cinnabar Field. 2 inches below the navel is your Tanden Kikai, or Tanden. Tanden means your field of essence. That's humanity's field of essence. 2 fingers beneath your navel, and 1.5 inches below your navel is your Kikai. Ki is like chi. You're filling up with chi, energy, spirit, vitality. And Kai is the ocean. So your ocean of vitality is within your Tanden field of essence. That's the PowerPoint we focus on. There's other PowerPoints right here, not the heart, right here, and between the eyes. But for us, it's this one. Okay, so you breathe in, right, through that spot. You have to learn how to breathe through that spot. And not only this in your body is the front, but your front has a back. So you breathe in through both places. Have you ever, I mean, you can't do that, but you imagine yourself doing it. And you start working with that and creating that. Because the front has a back. Now, when you actually breathe this way, you are able to locate where the mind is. The mind isn't up here. You were able to locate. That's on the inhalation breath. Okay, Mary? Okay, and then because you're full of air, then you exhale. And you exhale all the way down. It depends if you're standing, you're sitting, you're on the zafu. You push all the exhalation air down to how you're sitting, and you make a kind of a at the end of the exhalation. Your thinking mind will have stopped, and then you continue to do that. That's what you do in zazen. That's very important to know, because that controls, that's emptying out your self-centeredness, which is created by your thinking mind. Not that the thinking mind is bad, but you think too much. In fact, when COVID began, and maybe it was beginning already, people, the energy is going up. Lots of headache, migraine, anxiety, mental difficulty. It's going up. So in the old days, in the ancient time, you reverse. They said keep the body warm below the navel, keep the body cool above the navel. This is was common sense. But we lost a lot of that through technology and science. It's just common sense. Um, when I was in Poland, first time, uh, it was cold and we wanted to get a pair of socks. But what size? What size do you wear? And you know, in the old days, how they did it? They put the heel and the toe together around your fist. People don't do that anymore because all the sizes are written down, right? Did you ever hear that? What? And the sock will fit you. But you know, all these customs and things, I mean, geez, that's kind of stupid. I mean, but technology's at size 10. You know, our bodies and breath and mind work together, and they're, you know, they're being, we're being demised of all of our real senses. You know, like the cell phone, they can take pictures almost without light. Before, in the 60s, it was, you had a camera, a Leica or a Nikon, where you had to adjust to the light. The machine didn't do it for you. You have to remember all those things. We made those machines to make it convenient, to make us have more information easily. But those people who made it had a good idea. They created a very good idea. They were guys that surfed. They were athletes and created. But they didn't know that these machines will become addictive. See, when you walk or you're sitting in a coffee shop looking, people are in those machines, and those machines have nothing good to tell you. There's no compassion. The machine doesn't have compassion. The machine doesn't have technology, doesn't have wisdom. All you get is more information. Then you have to buy. The media. We have become consumers. We haven't become people anymore. You know, we've become addicted, not just to drugs, but what we've created. And so, you know, the training in Zazen is to untrain all that stuff. In fact, I don't have a cell phone. They invited me years ago to Sonoma State to give a talk on media and cell phones. I said, I don't have one. But I'm free. I mean, the computer, God, you know, you're bombarded with 1,000 ads, then you have to pay money to get on this thing to stop you from those ads from coming on. I mean, it's just horrendous what's happening. Maybe that's why people are looking for some kind of a calm and peace, or back to some kind of sanity. It's insane. We're living in an insane world. When I was in Poland, what was it, in the 80s, they had an ad, and Polish cigarettes are deadly. Because I used to smoke. They were the worst cigarettes in the entire world. And then underneath that it says, please don't, smoking is bad for you. I mean, to have a sign like that, encouraging you to consume the cigarette, and then the other side says you shouldn't because it'll kill you. I mean, what kind of message are we giving to people? That's schizophrenic. I mean, I could go on for a long time, but you know, because we're participating in the same society.
Any other questions online? And of course, in the center as well.
Roshi,
So,
so continuing with the idea of you didn't do anything wrong, how do we, in the Dharma, work with personal responsibility? People do things that are wrong.
yeah. Well, first thing is, I remember before the computer came out, there was the calculator, right? Before the calculator, and to use the calculator, you had to clear it. And that's what you should do with your mind. You have to clear your mind because you got one answer, the additional subtraction, all mixed up together. So in a way, yeah, in a way, that's what Zazen meditation is, clearing the mind. So it's got too much stuff. It's overloaded. You have to empty it out. And because your mind is empty, it means it's really alive and active. You're connected to the universe. And you know what right and wrong is. It's not judicial. It's not based on the courts. It's not based on politics. You know? So I was reading the Bonryo-kyo, the Brahman Net Sutra. And the word net is really a beautiful word because it's a metaphor. Like a net holds things, right? And the other thing is that the holes within a net needs holes for the net to hold. Isn't it interesting? And that's the teaching. The relative and the absolute. We can say the relative, the concrete is the net, the absolute are the holes. They go together. Those are the two truths. We have yet to put them together. Emptiness or spaciousness is dependent on something. They go together. The conventional truth and the unconventional truth. Anyway, did I answer anything?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, if it's just maybe, what did I leave out? Okay, you know?
Well, on one hand, we could say that you would look at, let's say, crime or wrongdoing as you see all the karma that went into that, and so you approach it with pure compassion and wisdom, and then you see, actually, there's no criminal, there's no crime, but at the same time, if someone's
Yeah.
misbehaving
Yeah,
or really does something
yeah,
destructive,
yeah,
you have to deal with that
Yeah.
situation in the form of that person. And so, what's the wisest?
and then what do people do? They put them in jail. That's it.
Call the police.
Huh?
Call the police.
Pardon me?
Call the police.
And well, at least put them in jail. But you know, it's far from over.
I don't want to hate Vladimir Putin. I don't like him very much. You know, so trying to hold
You
the right
know,
view, I guess.
they say Putin is a war criminal, right? But they forgot, everybody forgot that war is a crime. War. Blame it on Putin. But war, our whole world, they have let that go, because people make lots of money when there's war. Anyway, the world is in a very bad place. And this place on this mountain is for anyone who wants to train with us. And for myself, I started when I was 25, 1960. 10 years at the San Francisco Zen Center, and then 50 years here. I could say I'm very happy. I'm 88 now. I'm very happy because I'm beginning to understand what Zen is. I can explain what meditation is, and I can demonstrate what meditation is. So you're welcome to come, but you know, one woman said to me, I don't know if she's here. I don't think she is, but she said, I'm a member. And she said, what should I do? I said, well, you should just show up. A member, I thought of a body, like you have members like arms and legs, but you have to show up to the body. And you have to put the body and mind and put the work. And people say they practice, but you don't know what they're doing when they're practicing. But I call it training. Training, that's what we're doing with training. So we're on the website. You see our schedule. If you live close, you can come in person. But all this stuff, you know, you came for a certain reason. Maybe you're shopping. You probably are shopping.
Okay, we have a question online. It's Dan in London. Dan, go ahead.
Dan who? Kiki?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the rabbi. Okay, Dan.
Dan, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi Roshi, how you doing? Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. Can you say something about forgetfulness? Just anything.
What you said. No, how do you mean forgetfulness?
Yeah, like,
You mean forgetting the
forgetting practice, not knowing what to do sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's easy to do because you just get lazy and you don't. It's a discipline. Actually, it's like it's as important as drinking water and breathing air. Practice or training is just as important because how are you going to live your life? How are you going to die when you die? Living and dying. You want to have a full life. And yeah, your self-centeredness or your ego wants you to forget because it thrives when you forget. It imprisons you. That's its attribute, is to defeat you from seeking truth. That's its job, and it's doing a good job. I mean, sometimes I get lazy too. Lazy isn't bad, but please come home.
What the
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
what I think is really helpful, and I do it far too little, is that there's the the Dharma. There's so much literature, like so much that has been learned, that the writing about not only the urgency, the shortness of your life, but also the extreme. Like when I read it, I actually get horrified because I realize how beyond rare it is that I'm here as a human being. We all here as a human being, and it's just somehow I just don't get it. I read it, I get horrified, and then I think, okay, that's all it's gonna be about is this practice. But so lately, I actually been reading a lot more of that literature to kind of wake myself up, or like seriously have it seep into me that how extremely rare opportunity we have to practice now. Um, yeah.
You know, yeah, I'm at a place where I can read the how it was written down for a long time, uh, and how Buddhist Text Translation Society puts it down. I can actually um, change the words. I feel confident enough to change the words. Translators, they know the meaning objectively, and they're good with the words, better than myself. But they don't have the experience. The direct experience is the most important. So that's why I can change words around that also fit our the people now. These were written a long time ago, you know. I don't know how many hundred years ago. But the words are kind of, and yet they're old fashioned, but they're good words, but words that we understand more. Like even, for instance, sentient beings. I won't even look up the word sentient. Yeah, something with feelings, emotion. Why don't you just say living beings? You know, sentient beings makes a distance. Do you feel that? Sentient being? What? Why did you say living being? That's us. Yeah, that's all. Just things change things a little bit from practice to training, because it is training. It's clarifying the mind. It's clarifying the mind means clarifying the calculator. That's basically what it means. And I could say that we have a sitting monthly after Buddha's Enlightenment Day, and it's his enlightenment was September the 8th. His great enlightenment, and in the Japanese tradition, it's called rohatsu, meaning to some degree. I thought it was some very mysterious word. So when I looked it up, it's just okay. So we sit through the night from 12 to 4. And that was once Tassahara, 1971. Next one was here, that was 1973. And so the barn had no battens, it was small concrete wall, tilted on one side. And what happened was that, and I could sit full lotus then. The bell rang 3, and then we sat. And then the bell rang, the finished bell rang, and I felt like for me it was 5 minutes. And I said, wow, but I didn't know what had happened actually. There was no teacher, and I didn't mention it to any teachers. I just said, wow, that was pretty fantastic. So what I tried to do was to repeat that for the next 40 years. And I was completely defeated, completely failed. So what I learned from that is whatever happens when you sit for 4 hours. Oh, and I was always afraid, what happens if I have to go to the toilet? What am I gonna do? So I stopped drinking water at 7 o'clock. But if you have to go to the toilet, just walk out of the and go to the toilet and come back. It's very simple. I mean, we've had so many experiences here. There was one, he didn't sit with us anymore. I said, he has a problem. I said, just sit next to the door. When you have to go to the toilet, go out and come back. He never came back again. I mean, that's ignorance. And so what I learned to do is to accept, receive whatever happens in these 4 hours. Sometimes I was really, wanted to move a lot, but I couldn't figure out why. I didn't think about it, just kept on sitting. And this last December, what I found out was that I have to sit in a chair now. 4 hours is a long time. The body, maybe once in a while you move like so. And I concentrate on my breath, breathing in, breathing out. And all of a sudden, the bell rang. 4 hours is over. That was it. And that's what Bodhidharma did. But he did it for 9 years. He just sat, he probably moved around a little bit in his cave, and he breathed in and out. That's all. That's clarifying the mind. That's what clarifying the mind is. In the school, it uses this contemplating the mind. Basically, what we're doing, we're clarifying the calculator. And that's your liberation. That's your foundation for your entire life, for your true nature. Okay? If you want to join us, please join us, okay? Yes.
So my mind is kind of wrapped around the injustices that we've been kind of discussing and bringing up today. And I heard you say that ignorance is a sin. So would you say it's our responsibility to bear witness to the injustices and the atrocities of our world, continue our practice in clarifying our calculator so we can bear witness in a clear way? But is there any action that we should be taking to help quell the ridiculousness that is occurring in the general society?
Yeah, that's a good question, because the most important thing is to clear the mind, clarify the mind. And if you have that experience, then it's pretty good to make action
From that
point. Because people are disregarding, spiritual people are disregarding the basic part, is clarifying the mind. And then you can help people That's the most important thing, because you have the spiritual fitness or the spiritual foundation to actually help someone. You may become overwhelmed or swallowed by the whole event, but the spiritual fitness and the foundation, you don't know how much you can carry, how much you can do, how much you can't do. It's just as important as how much you can do. There's actually no burnout because you know your limit, because you have the spiritual foundation, the spiritual fitness. Okay? Yeah. Hey, how about that, huh? Okay. Good.